Alright, strap in, folks, because I'm about to lay down a spoiler-free review for Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba and the Hashira Training arc. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's a mouthful. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because this ain't your grandma's anime, it's a wild ride from start to finish. Let's talk about the whole movie versus season debate. In the US, we like our labels neat and tidy, but over in Japan, they like to keep us on our toes. But who cares about labels when you're diving into a world as thrilling as Demon Slayer? I'll admit, I was late to the party on Demon Slayer. I thought, oh, it's just another anime, nothing special. Boy, was I wrong. After binge-watching 50-plus episodes, I was hooked. I was re-watching scenes, craving more, realizing that my thirst for this story is unquenchable. And let me tell you, picking up the manga was a game-changer. Volume 15 perfectly captures the shift from the Swordsmith village arc to the Hashira Training arc. It not only gave me a leg up on the latest movie but also let me appreciate the art and storytelling in a whole new light. So, if you're sitting on the fence about Demon Slayer, let me give you a little nudge. Dive in headfirst, embrace the chaos, and join the ranks of the obsessed. Trust me, you won't regret it. In the wild world of contemporary entertainment, where everything from books to video games to classic movies gets a modern makeover, it's refreshing to see an animated series like Demon Slayer nail it so perfectly. They've captured the essence of the manga, from the story to the style to the individual frames. It's like they've cracked the code of adaptation, and Hollywood could learn a thing or two. Let's be real, though. In America, the trend is to take a beloved franchise, rip out its spine, crush its skull, and make it unrecognizable in the name of updating for modern audiences. Sure, there are a few exceptions, like the upcoming Dune Part 2, but for the most part, it's a frustrating time to be a fan. But then, along comes Demon Slayer, like a breath of fresh air. It's new, it's exciting, and best of all, it's immune to the wrath of fans who hate change because it's not changing anything from the past, it's blazing its own trail. The manga started in 2016, courtesy of the enigmatic Kyo Haruji. Seriously, I'm never saying that name again. He wrote it, he illustrated it, and it was published in the legendary Weekly Shonen Jump from February 2016 to May 2020, where all 23 volumes of the manga are locked and loaded, ready to blow your mind with a story that's actually finished. That's right, no Game of Thrones nonsense here, where the showrunners are left scrambling to make up an ending because the original author is still figuring out where they left their plot notes. Nope, Demon Slayer knows exactly where it's going, and it's taking us along for the ride, dutifully and beautifully adapting all the major story arcs. And let me tell you, it's been a blast. This show is pure escapism at its finest, with tales of high adventure that'll have you on the edge of your seat. It's like pop culture euphoria, and the best part? It just keeps getting better. Sure, it takes a bit to find its rhythm, like 25 or 30 episodes deep, but when it does, oh boy, hold on to your seats. At the heart of it all is Tanjiro Kamado, a mountain boy with a knack for chopping wood and selling charcoal. He's strong, sure, but he's no warrior, until tragedy strikes and his whole family is wiped out by a demon. Well, almost wiped out. His sister Nezuko survives, but she's got a bit of a demon problem herself. Now Tanjiro's on a mission to slay demons and save his sis, and let me tell you, it's one hell of a ride. So, Tanjiro Kamado, our mountain boy turned demon slayer, is on a mission to save his sister Nezuko from her demon curse. He lugs her around in a little crate on his back, like he's on a never-ending camping trip from hell. But hey, it's not all bad. When things get rough, Nezuko pops out like a demon jack-in-the-box and joins the fight alongside her bro. Talk about sibling goals. Now, here's the kicker, Nezuko's not your typical demon. She's off the human flesh diet, which means she's not out here craving a midnight snack of unsuspecting villagers. The downside? Well, after a good demon brawl, she's out like a light for a while, catching some serious ZS. It's like she turns into a demon-shaped paperweight, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Watching Tanjiro and Nezuko in action reminded me of those old spaghetti westerns, like Django dragging a coffin with a surprise inside. Except, in this case, the surprise is a demon girl ready to kick some serious demon butt. It's a bizarre buddy cop setup, but it works. And in the midst of all this demon-slaying madness, there's a larger-than-life struggle brewing between the Demon Slayer Corps and the demons, led by some big bad villain whose name I can't recall, but trust me, he's the real deal, the Darth Vader of this demon-infested galaxy. These bad boys have a real appetite for destruction, and people. The more folks they chow down on, the stronger they get. It's like a twisted RPG, where eating humans is the XP boost they need to level up into supervillains. Meanwhile, our demon slayers are out here grinding with their breathing techniques, pulling off superhuman feats left and right. But here's the kicker, if they lose a limb, it's gone for good. No respawn, no regen, just a permanent battle scar to show off at the next demon slaying convention. Now, let's talk about the Demon Slayer crew. Tanjiro's got his squad, his ride-or-die homies who are always there to have his back, until they lose a limb or get turned into demon chow. It's like a game of musical chairs, but instead of music, it screams of agony, and instead of chairs, it's limbs flying off left and right. And don't get me started on the Hashira, the big shots of the Demon Slayer Corps. There's only a handful of these badasses left, and they're dropping like flies. Slowly but surely, they're becoming an endangered species, trying to pass on their skills to the next generation before they kick the bucket. It's like a twisted version of Pass the Torch, where instead of a torch, it's a deadly breathing technique, and instead of passing, it's more like desperately trying not to die before you can teach someone else how not to die. And then there's the latest movie, the appetizer of the century. If you're expecting a full-course meal, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. It's like going to a fancy restaurant, ordering a steak, and getting a single bite before the chef snatches the plate away, leaving you hungry and confused. But hey, that's Demon Slayer for you, always keeping you on your toes, and always leaving you hungry for more. So, after the epic battle, we get the classic, everyone take a breather and heal up episode. You know the drill, bandage your wounds, bury your dead, and start pumping iron to get back in demon-slaying shape. But here's the twist, this time, it's not just the usual gang of survivors. We're talking all the Hashira, the big shots of the Demon Slayer Corps, coming together for a big ol' powwow. Even the retired Hashira show up, like the one from the Entertainment District arc, which, by the way, is my personal favorite. It's like a family reunion, but with way more swords and way less awkward small talk. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Hashira aren't just sitting around swapping war stories and sipping demon-slaying tea. Oh no, they're cooking up some serious training regimens for the next generation of demon slayers. It's like a demonic boot camp, with each Hashira putting their own unique spin on the training. It's like watching a bunch of chefs trying to outdo each other with their demon-slaying recipes. And let's not forget about our main man Tanjiro and his crew. These guys are always leveling up, like their characters in a tabletop RPG. They're grinding away, getting stronger with each battle. It's like watching a bunch of gamers grinding for XP in Elden Ring, except instead of a controller, they've got swords. Lots and lots of swords. Alright, let's talk about Tanjiro Kamado, the man, the myth, the demon-slaying legend. This guy has already shown us what he's made of, taking down demons that should have sent him running for the hills. And hey, he's not doing it alone, he's got his squad, including the lightning-fast Zenitsu and the thunder-breathing Inosuke. It's like the Avengers, but with more swords and less spandex. But here's the real kicker, watching Demon Slayer is like playing a video game, but without the controller. It's so immersive and addictive that you'll find yourself trying to dodge imaginary demon attacks while you're out grocery shopping. Trust me, I speak from experience. I spent an entire evening playing Elden Ring after watching a trailer for its expansion pack, trying to channel my inner Tanjiro. It's like the show and the game are in cahoots, conspiring to take over your life in the best possible way. Now, let's talk about getting into Demon Slayer the right way. Forget about starting with the movies like I did. That's like trying to start a car with a banana. No, the right way to do it is to dive headfirst into the series, starting from the very beginning. It's like building a house. You gotta start with a solid foundation, not with a fancy roof that'll blow away at the first sign of a demon attack. So, if you're looking for a new addiction that'll make you forget about the real world, look no further than Demon Slayer. Just don't blame me when you find yourself trying to do breathing techniques at the gym. It's a slippery slope, my friend, but oh so worth it. Starting with the Mugen Train arc. Now, this ain't your grandma's train ride, it's a demon-infested roller coaster with more twists and turns than a politician's promise. And let me tell you, after watching this arc, you'll be begging for more, especially when you meet the coolest character this side of the tracks. I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say you'll want to hug him, before he rips your face off. Now, after the movie, we get the expanded version in the form of 7 episodes that dive deeper into the Mugen Train arc. It's like the director said, hey, let's take this already awesome movie and add more awesome. And you know what? It works. You get more time with your favorite characters, more time with the demons, and more time with the action-packed battles that'll leave you on the edge of your seat, or falling off it, depending on your balance. But the real meat and potatoes of Demon Slayer is the 26-episode first season. This bad boy is the granddaddy of them all. The big kahuna, the one that'll make you want to cancel all your plans and binge-watch the whole thing in one sitting. And let me tell you, watching it in Japanese is the only way to go. The voice acting is so good, you'll forget you're reading subtitles and just get lost in the epicness of it all. And speaking of epicness, every season follows the same formula: plot-heavy beginnings, followed by epic battles that just keep escalating until you're left wondering if you've been watching fights for the past 3 hours straight. But hey, who's counting? So, if you've got 24 hours to spare and a craving for some demon-slaying action, Demon Slayer is the way to go. Just don't blame me if you start growling and screaming like a madman after watching a few episodes. It's all part of the experience, my friend. Unless you're planning on watching the new movie in theaters, just pretend like they don't exist. The real meat and potatoes of the Demon Slayer experience is in the episodes, baby. So, grab your popcorn, fire up Crunchyroll, and get ready for a binge-watching session that'll leave you questioning your life choices, in the best way possible. Now, the new movie does give you a little refresher at the beginning, flashing back to all the awesome theme songs from the show. And let me tell you, those theme songs are like ear candy. I mean, who doesn't love playing air guitar to a killer anime theme? It's like a rite of passage for any true anime fan. But wait, there's more. After every episode, you get a little bonus scene, like a mini manga come to life. It's like a little dessert after your main course of demon-slaying action. So, if you're not watching those opening and closing credits, you're missing out, my friend. It's like watching a Marvel movie and leaving before the post-credits scene, you just don't do it. So, if you want the full Demon Slayer experience, skip the movies, for now, and dive headfirst into the episodes. Trust me, your air guitar skills will thank you. Now, forget about the movies for a sec and focus on the main show. You want to get up to speed? Then strap in and binge-watch every single episode like your life depends on it. Trust me, it's easier than avoiding spoilers on the internet. Now, when you start watching, you'll notice something strange. The show likes to throw in these little hidden scenes after the credits, like a surprise dessert after a heavy meal. They're like mini manga pages come to life, with characters popping out and having these quirky little conversations. It's like a bonus feature you never knew you needed, and it's all part of the full Demon Slayer experience. But let's talk about the humor. At first, it might seem like the writers lost their marbles and went on a comedy spree. I mean, one minute you're watching badass warriors hacking demons to pieces, and the next minute, it's like you stumbled into a circus. But here's the thing, you need those moments of insanity to balance out all the epic battles. It's like a palate cleanser for your brain, a chance to catch your breath before the next demon brawl. And then there's Zenitsu. Oh boy, where do I even start with this guy? When he's being funny, he's like that annoying neighbor who won't stop mowing his lawn at 6 a.m. But here's the twist, he's secretly one of the best characters in the show. Yeah, I said it. When he's not screaming about his cowardice, he's actually pretty cool. It's like he's two characters in one, and you never know which one you're gonna get. So buckle up, because Demon Slayer is a roller coaster ride of epic battles, insane humor, and characters you'll love to hate, and then love again. Alright, let's talk about Zenitsu, the sleeping beauty of Demon Slayer. This guy is a coward when he's awake, but when he hits the hay, he becomes a demon-slaying machine. It's like he's got a split personality, but instead of a mild-mannered alter ego, he's got a full-on warrior mode that kicks ass and takes names. Well, maybe not the biggest badass of them all, but he can definitely hold his own against the big boys like Nos and Tanjiro. Now, let's talk about Nezuko. This girl is a total knockout, both in looks and in combat. She's like a chameleon, transforming from a cute little sister into a muscle-bound devil woman ready to kick some demon butt. And let me tell you, when she's got that bamboo pole in her mouth, she's a force to be reckoned with. It's like watching a tiny, adorable powerhouse unleash hell on her enemies. But here's the kicker, Zenitsu is head over heels for Nezuko, and it's hilarious. Every time he's around her, he turns into a blubbering mess, like a teenage boy meeting his crush for the first time. And let me tell you, if you're not a fan of the comedy, this might get a bit much for you. But if you can get past the awkwardness, the interactions between Zenitsu and Nezuko will become your favorite part of the show. Now, some people might look at Demon Slayer and think, oh, it's just a show for kids. But let me tell you, this ain't your grandma's cartoon. This show gets hardcore with its death sequences and violence. I mean, when I was 5 or 6, I was watching Voltron, and let me tell you, Demon Slayer makes Voltron look like a Saturday morning cartoon. So if you're ready to dive into a world of demon-slaying madness with a side of comedy, Demon Slayer is the show for you. Let me tell you, it's not your grandma's cartoon. Sure, the characters might look all cute and cuddly, but don't be fooled, there are some adult themes lurking beneath the surface. Now, I'm not talking about the weird, disturbing stuff you might find in some old-school Japanese animations from the 80s and 90s. We're not diving into some bizarre, twisted fantasy land here. Demon Slayer is high fantasy, not some Rin orgy with swords and demons, okay? It's a different kind of wild ride. What changed my mind about checking it out was when I stumbled upon a poster at the Regal Cinema. I saw these characters covered in blood, grimacing like they'd seen some serious stuff, and I thought, okay, maybe I've misjudged this. Maybe this is more than just a kiddie show. And let me tell you, I was right. Demon Slayer is a breath of fresh air in a world filled with stale Hollywood franchises. I mean, have you seen the latest Fast and Furious? It's like they're just throwing cars at each other now. And don't get me started on the new Indiana Jones. I swear, if he survives one more impossible stunt, I'm gonna scream. But back to Demon Slayer. It's playing alongside The Boy and the Heron at the Regal, and that's pretty cool. 2 Japanese animated features sharing the spotlight? Sign me up. Because let's face it, if you're tired of the same old Hollywood reboots and sequels, it can be slim pickings out there. You want something that'll make you cheer unreservedly, not make you reach for your katana to chop someone's throat for ruining your favorite character. And Demon Slayer delivers on that front. When it comes to adapting something, you've got to show some respect for the source material. None of this half-baked, watered-down nonsense, give us the real deal. I'm talking about doing justice to what came before, not butchering it beyond recognition. And let me tell you, adapting manga into film is no walk in the park. It's like trying to turn a gourmet meal into fast food, you're gonna lose a lot of flavor along the way. But hey, kudos to the filmmakers of Demon Slayer for actually getting it right. It's like they took a page straight out of the manga, literally, and brought it to life on the big screen. And you know what? They're being rewarded with massive success, and rightfully so. Now, as much as I love a good manga, let's not forget about comics. I mean, I've got more long boxes in my back room than I care to admit. But finding a comic these days that really gets me excited? That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Maybe I should just stick to manga. It seems to be where all the action is these days. And speaking of action, can we talk about Godzilla? -1 amazing monster movie. And then there's The Boy and the Heron, a future film by the legendary animator Hayao Miyazaki. Japan is just killing it with their entertainment, and I'm here for it. So, if you're not on the Demon Slayer bandwagon yet, what are you waiting for? Jump on board before it's too late. Because let me tell you, every generation needs its own franchises, its own stories, its own intellectual properties to geek out over. And Demon Slayer might just be the one for this generation. I almost kind of feel sorry for the 10-year-old kids being dragged to the theater by their 50-year-old fathers like, "This is my favorite superhero, so you better shut up and like it," and then lecturing them about everything it got wrong afterwards. I'm like, that sounds like tons of fun for a 10-year-old, not. Somebody joked recently, Hollywood needs to stop being confused about why young kids don't want to watch movies about their parents' favorite superheroes. Maybe it's time for everybody to turn the page and come up with some new stories and franchises. I suspect that if I were 15 right now, I wouldn't give a damn that so many franchises in America are in ruins or falling to pieces, whether that's The Witcher, Star Trek, or Lord of the Rings. I mean, throw a dart, and you'll find a franchise that is all messed up right now. Because if I were that 15-year-old kid, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to play video games and watch anime, and I'll be fine. And you know what? I think I'd be right. There's so much great stuff to watch over the last couple of decades that you could probably watch anime all day, every day, for the rest of your life and never run out of things to watch. So, in the final analysis, let's just say I'm a very satisfied fan. This show scratches a lot of itches. It scratches the itch that's always there from not reading comics anymore, not being able to find comics that I like. It scratches the itch for animation. I love animation. Speaking of animation, check out the video that I posted yesterday, where Adam Rakoff and I interview American animation legend Bill Plympton. If you're an animation fan, definitely check that out, where we talk about his debut feature film, The Toon, which is now available on Blu-ray. I love animation and comics, all that good stuff, but I can't stand being lectured to. I mean, who needs more lectures, right? If I wanted that, I'd just scroll through social media. So, when I plop down my hard-earned cash for a movie or a comic, I want to be entertained, not educated. And that's exactly what Demon Slayer does. When it makes you laugh, it's like getting a full-body workout. There's this one scene, I think it's in one of the seasons, but who's keeping track, where Tanjiro tries to squeeze through a tiny hole, and only his head fits. Suddenly, he remembers he's double-jointed and contorts his body like a freaking worm, giggling and screaming the whole time. I had to hit pause because I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. It's just so absurd and hilarious. As a comedy, Demon Slayer nails it. And as a high-adventure story with sword-wielding badasses fighting demons, it's spot on. If you're craving some kick-ass superhero-esque tales without the cringe-worthy problems of American entertainment, this show is the fix you need. So, let me ask you this, what animation franchises out there should I be paying attention to? I'm on the lookout for the best entertainment worldwide, and Japan seems to keep hitting it out of the park with their games, shows, comics, and movies. So, big thanks to Japan for keeping us entertained with Demon Slayer and more. Watching this show put the world's biggest grin on my face the whole time. I can't wait to watch more and review more at the appropriate time. In any case, I feel like this video spiraled out of control into a review of the entire season, as opposed to the individual movie. My official review of the movie is, don't go see it unless you're already a die-hard converted fan, where you're completely up to speed. You'll have no idea what's going on if you just try to watch it as a standalone movie. Maybe it would be enough to kind of whet your appetite or get you excited or curious, but if you're going to start anywhere, start with either episode 1. Or you can do it the wrong way, like I did, where you start with the first movie. I went from the movie into the Entertainment District arc, then into the Swordsmith Village arc, and then I went back and I watched all of the first season, and then I watched the Mugen Train arc. So, you know, I saw like the second half of all the episodes before I saw the first half of all the episodes. But it doesn't matter. Now, I've got all those episodes stirring around in my brain. So I guess all's well that ends well. But I'm just going to recommend people start at the beginning. Keep it simple, stupid, as the old expression goes. But thank you so much for listening to this rambling rant about this really, really cool show. I hope I excited the curiosity of a few people, and I hope that I, you know, said a few things interesting to the existing fans. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hit that notification bell.